The following is a fan-based discussion, and all materials being discussed are owned by Toei and Super Productions. I claim no ownership to the materials being discussed and is purely fan opinion. Hi everyone and welcome back to another video on TFX. This is the first video of a new series where I'll be talking about my first impression, basically my initial thoughts on newly released tokusatsu shows, which include Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Ultraman. In this video, I'll be talking about my first impression on the new Super Sentai, number 1 Sentai, Gozyuger. As of the time of recording this video, 5 episodes have aired, and by the time this video goes up, episode 6 would have aired. Now, the reason why I chose to do this after the first 5 episodes aired is because, if I were to do this, I might as well be fair and do it after every Ranger gets a focus episode, or after they all do their first transformation, which they do in this case. Let's start with the opening. I think it's fine. For a dance opening, it definitely is not bad. Like, would I say this is in my top 10 favorite Sentai openings? Probably not, but it's definitely a fun one, and one of the more sing-alongable openings. I would say this though. Gozu Unicorn's actor performs this dance in a skirt and high heels. She even said on her Twitter that it wasn't a problem because I'm awesome. This woman's amazing, and she knows it. The song itself, I think it's okay. Not best of the best, but definitely acceptable. Now on to the suits. I like them a lot. Before I talk about the design of the suits though, I want to first talk about the interesting lineup for this team. Red is a wolf, blue is a lion, yellow is a T-Rex, green is an eagle, and black is a unicorn. Of course, at this point, we don't know what the Sixth Ranger is based on. We have rumors, but obviously nothing concrete yet. Anyways, back to this. This is the first Sentai where the T-Rex Ranger, in this case, Gozu Tirano, is not the Red Ranger, which previously all T-Rex Rangers have been Reds, like in Zoo Ranger and Arbor Ranger, so it's nice to break up that trope. It's also the first time where we have a female Black Ranger on the main core team, not to mention our first unicorn-themed Ranger with Gozu Unicorn. But oh my gosh, I like these suits so much. I love the animal and mythical beast designs on the helmets, in the case of Gozu Unicorn. The color scheme is also great, where it's mostly their own color, black and gold, with white for the gloves and boots. The claws on the hands are also very good detail. It's interesting how, unlike the others, Gozu Unicorn has pink accents, but I don't mind it, it looks great. Also, on her suit, the lower leg pieces are white with pink accents, which is sort of weird given how with the others it's their color. The only other thing that bugs me a little bit is the blank circle on the chest. I really wish further on in the show they add something to it because that's pretty much the only part of the suit I'm not a big fan of. Still, I really like these suits. They're not my favorite, but I like them a lot. Now let's get into the show, or at least what we have so far. First things first though, I love how even if you don't know what Sentai this is, or if you watch it and forget which Sentai this is, it doesn't matter. Why? Because this show does a great job of reminding you, as they say the phrase number one like 500 times every episode. To set the premise here, this show is about essentially a huge battle royale, which this is the first Sentai to have battle royale elements. Basically, our 5 protagonists for this show are outcasts who become the Gozyugers by forming a contract with Take a Sword. They must collect all the Sentai rings by competing and winning against other competitors. So as much as this is a Sentai show, they're rivals. Every other ring user transforms into other Red Rangers, which I get, it's hard getting that many people in this. Like, I haven't seen Boom Boomger, but from what I've heard, that one is definitely an actual team. This one, not so much. Every episode in this is them competing to become number one in something, which is unique in its own way, and I like it. Before I go on, I want to briefly talk about the mech. I like how each ranger gets a different mech configuration, which makes sense given that they're rivals in this competition, so they're essentially only working together for now. Will we get a combination mech? I don't know. It wouldn't really surprise me if they didn't. We have gotten the mech configurations for 4 of the Rangers. Of course, Unicorns will debut in episode 6. I also like how each configuration has a different fighting style, with Take a Sword Red using more balanced style, Sword Blue has a long-range fighting style. Sword Yellow uses brute force, and Sword Green specializes in aerial combat. Onto characters, starting with the heroes. Now, since this is only a first impressions video, instead of talking about the plot we have so far, I'm actually going to talk about our 5 heroes, from least favorite to favorite, at least what I think of them so far. And of course, the best always comes last. First, my least favorite Gozyuger, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me on this. Tono Hoeru, aka Gozyu Wolf. He has the power of enhanced smell, like a wolf. Oh, also, after becoming Gozyugers, their rings grant them additional abilities, like Hoeru gets number 1 sense of smell. I definitely like his lone wolf nature, no pun intended, and his starting point, since he doesn't have a wish. I will say this, he's not a bad character. At least I don't think so. Heck, I quite like every one of them. I personally don't have a problem with his voice like some other people do. He arguably has the most growth potential out of the 5 given his lack of wish. The main problem with him, however, is the fact that I think everyone else outshines him. And that's mainly because of his actor. I don't think he portrays the character the best. He definitely portrays the unsociable part well, given that Hoida gets fired from every job he gets. But I felt like this universe's Kuwakata Oja, who was portrayed by the actor who played Taya, aka Boon Red from Boon Bunjer, performed better than him. However, he has the best fight scenes, with the fighter game vibes I get from it, with the sound effects. If you play fighting games at the arcade, you'll know what I'm talking about. Next, I would put Takehara Joji, or Kinjiro as he's known now, aka Goju Eagle. Again, I like the way his character is set up, where he's actually an old man, and the ring turns him young as he can't really fight as an old man. He's very stubborn, which is why he doesn't have the best relationship with his family. Not a good one at all. His superpower is super eyesight, eagle sight pretty much. I also love how he turns into a 17-year-old by consuming sufficient egg-based dishes. He wants to live more freely and wish to become more of a partier, which I get. You definitely want some sort of freedom in your life. The main reason why I have him here, and it's not so much the fault of the character or the actor, I felt like he needs more time to shine. Like, yeah, I consider him to be better than Hoeru, at least for now. But I don't know, he just needs more time since he debuted in episode 4 as an actual character of focus. In the middle, I have Byakuya Rikuo, aka Goju Leon. This guy has so much charisma that every time he's on screen, you can't help but to give him attention, especially when he smiles, like in this picture right here. His superpower is super hearing. Makes sense since he's a lion. He was a former idol but was kicked out of his office after an incident. We don't know what the incident is yet. I love him when he first debuted as a ranger, where it was a treasure hunt episode. He changed his voice to make himself sound sick and managed to convince an elderly couple to give their vase to him. After the competition ends, he returns it with his signature on it. Even when he wasn't the center of focus, you still can't help but see this guy given how charismatic he is. My second favorite is Bakugami Ryugi, aka Goju Tirano. Now, I had trouble deciding who to put in this spot. It was either Ryugi or Rikuo. Rikuo is charismatic as hell, but I found Ryugi to be just so entertaining to watch. His superpower is super strength, and every time he uses this power, it's always like the funniest scenes ever. Like again with the treasure hunt episode, when Hoeru was using Tega Soul-sama to dig for treasure, he manages to hold the mech's arm and shouts to him, "How dare you use Tega Soul-sama as a shovel?" Comedy. It was so funny. I also love his energy and his over-the-top acting since he's devoted to Tega Soul-sama. Oh, and when he and Rikuo turned the cafe into Tegasol Village, it was great. He's got to be one of the funniest characters in this show so far. My favorite, without a doubt, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with my choice, Ichikawa Sumino, aka Goju Unicorn. It's not just because she's cute, it's also because of how she uses her charms to get what she wants, as she's a private detective, and the fact that she has Esper powers. I think she has the most compelling backstory out of the five, where she wants to find and get revenge on the person who took her sister. It got so bad to the point that she got fired from the police as a result of losing her cool when apprehending the supposed culprit. It's interesting how out of the five Gozyugers, she's the only one who couldn't transform, at least initially. Seeing the no one, aka the villains of this show, holding her sister's headband, which had the fingerprints of the culprit on it, and being asked to kill Hoiru to get it, she ultimately doesn't, and the headband gets burnt. I love how her episode is handled, and she knows the culprit had grey eyes, which we see at the end of the episode 5 I'm talking about. Rikuo used to have grey eyes, hinting at some sort of connection. I like her the most easily out of this cast. Also, Don Momotaro in this show is portrayed by none other than Ultraman Trigger's actor. He's charismatic as hell and crazy in a fun way, which again, I have not watched Dawn Brothers, but crazy shit is pretty much how everyone describes that show. Now onto the villains. The No One Braden. I'm only going to talk about how I feel about the main three, starting with Fire Candle. This guy definitely lives up to his name, being an actual hothead, and I definitely like the energy his actor brings to this role. From the first episode, he has a rivalry with Hoiru after Hoiru defeats him, which I like. Fire Candle is definitely a good character so far, and I'm really excited to see where he goes from here. Next is Bouquet. Just as her name suggests, she doesn't use violence in her approaches, unlike Fire Candle, obviously. I also love how she immediately becomes a fan of Rikuo after his live performance during the popularity contest episode, which is also the same episode that Don Momotaro, aka Ultraman Trigger, debut in, and how she throws a temper tantrum when her Rikuo photo gets damaged during her fight with Goju Leon, who she doesn't know is actually Rikuo himself, developing a personal rivalry between the two of them. Finally, we have Mr. Shiny Knife and Mrs. Sweetcake. Okay, according to the press conference, it turns out that these two were originally two beings in two separate bodies until their intense love for each other caused them to merge together, which is definitely an interesting concept. I'll give them that. Them having separate personalities, like retaining their own personalities, despite being fused, is entertaining to watch and is very fun. Overall, so far, I really like how this show is going. Yeah, this show isn't perfect, mainly because of Hoeru, but I am really liking how this show starts off. Every character has their own unique personality, which is why I like them, and I am really excited to see where this show goes from here on. I plan to watch this show as it airs, which this makes it the first Super Sentai show that I am watching as it's currently airing. But yeah, that sums up all my first thoughts on number one Sentai Gozyuger. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and comment what your current thoughts are on Gozyuger. That is all for this video. You all have a good day, and see you all next time. Bye everybody.